What if you gave the best cut and color, but no one could find your salon online? With help from Cox Business Internet and Voice Solutions, you can do more than everyday tasks. You can share your style with the world. Visit coxbusiness.com for details.
Imagine an ER waiting room with your favorite blanket and pillow, your cat's Pixel and Widget, and your mom's chicken soup. At Dignity Health, we know the only thing worse than being in pain is being stuck in an ER waiting room. So we offer In Quicker. You get an estimated ER arrival time online so you can start your wait at home. It's just another way of putting leading-edge medicine within easy reach. Learn more at strosehospitals.org/ER. Dignity Health, including St. Rose Dominicans, Rose de Lima, San Martin, and Siena campuses in Henderson and Las Vegas. Hello, human kindness.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is Daily Drop number 450. What's up, everybody, and welcome to the program. Hope everybody's having a fantastic Friday so far. We're going to jump right in today, and we're going to discuss an article from the great Kate Bricklet over at the Daily Beast. And the headline of this article: Epstein kept dossiers on his survivors to blackmail them. Now, if you've been following this case, like I'm guessing most of you listening to this podcast right now have been, then you know that Epstein kept dossiers on everybody. So it would make sense that he'd have dossiers on the girls as well. You know, it was all part of the blackmail scheme, right? Compromise. The more information you have, the better position you set yourself up in, especially in that kind of world. And even if you're not an intelligence asset, even if you're not working for an intelligence division, even if you're just in a boardroom or you're in a competitive, highly competitive field, the same thing occurs. Information gathering, doing intel, oppo research. It's the bread and butter for these sorts of people. And Jeffrey Epstein certainly was no different. He had a dossier on a dossier and a dossier on top of a dossier for everybody. Now that Kate is reporting on this and bringing it out and putting pen to page, you know, it makes it more tangible, right? You can look at it and say, holy Toledo, what do you know? And then you can refer to it and show it to your friends, like I call them, the unsullied, who might not know anything about the case. And all you have to do is link them to, 3 or 4 articles, and before you know it, people will be sending you messages like, what in the hell is going on with this case? So that's why it's awesome to see people like Kate and some others really, carry the torch as far as people in the quote-unquote legacy media. So let's jump into this article and let's see what's what. A survivor of Jeffrey Epstein's sex ring claims that a financial advisory firm linked to the deceased trafficker coaxed women into marriages, put their names on falsified documents, and kept dossiers on survivors that the pedophile financier loaned her out to his powerful friends for abuse, according to new court papers. So, Indike, Khan, the financial advisory firm, HBRK, to be exact, was involved in all of this, according to several different survivors. And now you have one of the survivors coming out, Priscilla Doe, and saying that that firm was involved with all of it, pretty much putting a stamp on the speculation, right? Look, everybody has speculated and, more than speculated, I should say. At this point, there's a lot of circumstantial evidence that proves her allegations. But with her coming out, Priscilla Doe, and putting this on the record and naming HBRK for taking part in the sham marriages, taking part in, falsified documentation and all of that, well, it becomes a bit more real, right? Priscilla Doe, a New York ballet dancer who says Epstein abused her from 2006 to 2012, spells out more disturbing accusations against a wealthy sex offender and a mysterious corporate entity known as HBRK Associates Incorporated. The firm was once registered to Richard Kahn, Epstein's longtime accountant and co-executor of his roughly $210 million estate. So, Indyk and Kahn were basically connected to Epstein at the hip. We all know that. We know that Indyk was there from the jump. He was the house lawyer. Epstein's generic version of Tom Hagen. You know, the guy that's around to offer advice, fix things, bring some money out, pay off people who need to be paid off, and, you know, go to the ATM and the bank and get involved in structured withdrawals as well. Because, you know, he's so bright and all. But that's who HBRK was. Indyk and Kahn, the money manager and the lawyer. It's nice to see Kahn get some shine finally, right? This guy very rarely, no one ever talks about Kahn. Very rare. We hear a lot about Indyk. Well, not a lot, but, you know, when we talk about the executors, we hear a lot about Indyk. But Kahn is a crucial part of this as well. He was the money man. You mean to tell me the accountant had no idea what was going on with the shadowy transactions? The accountant had no idea what was going on with the offshore garbage accounts? Yeah, he had no idea, huh? He had no idea about the bags of money being given behind the scenes to people in academia. He had no idea. The accountant. Okay, all right. And again, furthermore, why would Jeffrey Epstein, the guy that is so smart that Leon Black goes to him for advice, why would he need to pay an accountant? Can't he just do all of that himself? He's so smart, right? He's just such a talented guy. Isn't that what Vanity Fair called him back in the day? The talented Mr. Epstein? So what did he need an accountant for? According to an amended complaint filed last week, Epstein coerced the ballerina into giving his powerful friends massages, and at least one of these friends informed her that he had Epstein's permission to do what he wanted to her. So, I wonder who this friend is. I mean, take your pick at this point, right? You can put a whole bunch of these dudes up on a dartboard, all their pictures, and throw a dart blindly and hit one of them and probably not be far off the mark. If not abusing this girl, then somebody else. I mean, just take a look at how the information's all trickling out, folks. Comes out that Leon Black is not only an enabler, he has his own accusations against him. Bill Gates, another guy, played coy, make pretend, oh, I don't know who Epstein is, I only met him once. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, his own wife is admonishing him for hanging out with Epstein. Bill Gates thinks he's Casanova around the office, running around trying to hook up with girls at the office, so much so that it was a not hidden secret. He would go and change cars, leave the car that he came to work in, his security detail would pull up in another vehicle, I believe it was like a brown Porsche or some nonsense, and he'd get in that and go out for his little trysts. Fellow travelers, at the very least, all of these people, and the fact that Epstein was able to even think for a minute that he had the power to tell one of his scumbag friends that they can abuse one of these girls at will, it just boggles the mind. Where's the outrage? Everybody who's been mentioned in this shit in court documents should be hounded by the media. And I just mean in the court documents, right? Because remember, gotta have evidence here. You can't just, willy-nilly throw claims off the old wall when we're talking about stuff like this. We're not talking about trying to, make somebody look bad in an election or something here. We're talking about calling somebody a child abuser. So you got to be real careful how you sling that one. But these people that have been mentioned in court documents and fingered by these girls themselves, they can all get effed. And I'll tell you what, after all we have learned in this case, And here, 1,300 articles or whatever the hell we're on at this point? We have a pretty clear picture of who these people are and how they move. And that's not saying all of them are out here involved in human trafficking. But if you look at all of these hedge fund managers and all of these billionaire Wall Street clowns, and you look into their past, just a quick look, all of them have had run-ins with commissions, with regulatory boards, or with courts. None of these people are playing fair, folks, okay? Every one of them is using a weighted bat. While me and you, well, we're using a wiffle ball bat. Doe's updated lawsuit follows her rejection of a settlement offer from the Epstein Survivors Compensation Program. Her attorney, Brad Edwards, confirmed that Doe declined the fund's offer, but would not comment on the complaint. And now this is where it gets interesting, right? So now Priscilla Doe, is not accepting the money. So we're looking at a protracted court battle, probably. She's going to try and get in front of a jury and argue her case. And HBRK and the rest of these clowns that thought they were going to be protected by the compensation fund, well, surprise, not so much. And we talked about this a little bit in the past, how one or more of these girls might not feel like the compensation fund is right for them, and they might choose a different avenue. And that's what we see here with Priscilla Doe. She's decided to move in a different lane, and she has decided to pursue this in her own manner. And I think that's good for her, right? She knows best. Her and her lawyers know best. Her family, they know best. Not me, not anybody else, them. So if this is what they decide to do, I say go for it. And go for the throat, right? All of it. Get everything into discovery, subpoena everybody involved, get them all under oath. I mean, if the prosecutors don't want to do it in the Maxwell case, then hey, maybe it'll all be brought to light this way instead. An attorney for Epstein's estate, however, pushed back on Doe's claims. The new allegations against Mr. Khan and HBRK are completely inaccurate, Daniel Weiner, a lawyer for the Epstein estate, told us in an email. Neither Mr. Khan nor anyone else at HBRK forced, coerced, or threatened anyone in any fashion at any time. All right, says you, Mr. Weiner. These girls are telling a different story, though. And the track record has proven thus far that these girls, these survivors, these women speaking out, well, they're telling the truth. While your clients have done nothing but obfuscate, muddy the waters, and try and slow things down to try and make it either A, too expensive, or B, an afterthought for the public. Two crucial errors, by the way, because neither of that's about to happen. It makes no sense to assert, or for your publication to report, that people who worked for Mr. Epstein knew of his private activities, including sexual or other personal interactions between Mr. Epstein and women who worked for or associated with him, simply because they handled some financial and administrative services, Weiner said. Yeah, because the money handler, the guy that's laundering the money for the mafia, he doesn't get in trouble when the whole entire thing collapses. They show up with a couple of mixed drinks for him, right? Here's a nice margarita for you. Would you like yourself some tacos, perhaps? Everybody involved goes down. You're an accessory. You're an accessory after the fact. You're directly involved, whatever it may be. Jeffrey Epstein and his crimes didn't happen with just him doing them. There's no way that could have occurred. This guy was the accountant. And the lawyer here says the publication shouldn't even write about this. Why not? Why should they not write about this when the survivors are the ones telling them this? When people who are involved in this directly are the ones telling them this? And in fact, the biggest of all of them, well, this has been filed in court. Okay? So that makes it pretty real. A source close to Kahn previously told the Daily Beast that the number cruncher wasn't aware of Epstein's abuse of underage girls and young women. Richard worked out of the office. Did Epstein appear at those offices? Yes. Did Richard see any of the activities that were the focus of press attention? No, the person said. Oh, okay, I'm sure. I'm sure that all of these years he was hanging around with Epstein and saw nothing, heard nothing, there were no rumors, never wondered about the young girls, never wondered about the massages, never wondered about any of that. Mr. Smart Guy Kahn. Okay, I guess if that's what he wants us to believe, folks. That's his story, I guess. If you show up to court with that story, you're going to be in for a long day, buddy. So that might work with the media, as you try to evade, duck, and dodge. But you better hope that your day does not come where you're sitting in front of a judge being deposed under oath or under cross-examination by a fiery prosecutor in front of a jury. Because these are some serious allegations being made. And we're not talking about allegations that are being thrown out there. These filed in court, meaning that Priscilla Doe is ready to rock and roll. Mouthpiece in, gloves on, center of the cage type stuff. Still, Doe's complaint claims fellow HBRK employees helped to facilitate Epstein's crimes. They allegedly warned the women by email or other communication how powerful and wealthy Jeffrey Epstein was, and maintained damaging files on many of the young female survivors to prevent them from cooperating with police or in civil lawsuits against Epstein and his trafficking organization. So, you always wonder, well, why didn't anyone talk about Epstein, Bob? Look, he had a dossier on everybody. All of these girls. And then he would call them with that flexing about how his powerful friends were, about how powerful his friends were, who they were, and how he could ruin their lives just as quickly as he could make their lives great. And, these are young people, young girls, young men, whatever. You're impressionable, right? A powerful man like this tells you that kind of stuff. You believe it. And then you have his employees are emailing you and threatening you and all of that. Forget it. It got to be intimidating. Employees of HBRK knew or should have known that Jeffrey Epstein was a serial sexual abuser of young girls, the complaint adds. Those individuals played necessary roles in facilitating Epstein's sexual abuse to the point that much of it would have been impossible but for the services provided by defendant HBRK. And this is something that we have seen, right, throughout this case being built, this sort of claim. And you look at it and you know for a fact that Jeffrey Epstein couldn't have done this on his own, that there were so many people involved and so many people knew. And yet all of those same people are now crying like they had no idea or like they themselves were victims. And I love that Brad Edwards is still hot on the trail here. And I love that Priscilla Doe has decided not to let them off the hook. HBRK, Richard Kahn, Indike, these guys are all going to have to answer for this at some point, folks. Now, above that, the Leon Blacks of the world, I'm not very optimistic that they'll ever answer for anything. But the core four, Indike, Kahn, and Jean-Luc Brunel, oh yeah, I'm confident that all of them are going to get some comeuppance. Meanwhile, the lawsuit claims employees of HBRK, as well as Epstein-related entities, NES, Financial Trust Company, and Florida Science Foundation, arranged for Doe's transportation of Florida, where she was abused by Epstein during his work release privileges. So all of those companies, folks, NES, Financial Trust Company, and Florida Science Foundation, anybody who has done business with them, Anybody who has transferred money to one of those accounts or taken money out is involved in ill-gotten gains and is involved, under RICO statutes at least, in the crime. So where are the RICO statutes? When are they going to drop RICO charges on all of these people? Why the half-stepping? At the time of the alleged abuse in 2008 and 2009, Epstein was serving a country club jail sentence in Palm Beach for soliciting a minor. And now you got the whole entire thing where the FDLE comes out with their stupid report that meant nothing, talking about how the deputies were watching him, blah, blah, blah. Well, if that's the case, how is he abusing Priscilla Doe at the same time? See, it just doesn't add up. And again, I can't side with the government, right? Because all they've done is lie and BS us through this whole entire thing. And obviously a bunch of other stuff, but we're talking about just this right now. So they've proven time and time again, in this case especially, that they can't be trusted. Their narrative is trash. So why should I believe them? I don't believe anything about that first arrest, that first prosecution of Epstein. It's unclear which HBRK employees the lawsuit is referring to, but one Twitter gumshoe noted the firm's title seems to be derived from the initials of Epstein accountants Harry Beller and Richard Kahn. Both men are signatories on HBRK retirement plan documents, public records show. The most recent filing is signed by Bella Klein, which appears to be a misspelling of longtime employee Bella Klein, who on LinkedIn describes herself as a highly trustworthy, discreet, and ethical professional. Yeah, that's pretty much the Hydra there, right? Those are the people that have always been Epstein's accountants, his confidants, the people that he trusts the most when it comes to his money. So, it's not, it doesn't take a rocket scientist here, right? Or a great investigator to put it all together. HBRK employees made it impossible for these survivors to escape from the sex trafficking operation, Doe's amended lawsuit states. At times, HBRK even operated out of the apartments located at 301 East 66th Street, where Epstein persuaded a number of the survivors to reside under his control. And that was the mysterious building at 66th that we talked about. You know, the Mark Epstein building, his brother who owns all the units, who had no idea what Jeffrey Epstein was up to. Again, more BS. Another person let off the hook. You would think a legacy media that makes its bones on destroying people would be all over everybody in this case. But what are they scared of? Nice to see that Kate walks in swaggering around, not giving a damn about any of these people, letting them all have it with her pen. Brave reporting, folks. There's not enough of it. HBRK additionally stored large amounts of cash in its offices to ensure that there were funds available to pay and silence survivors of Epstein at any given time, the document adds. Well, that goes to the truth of it. We know that Epstein kept a bunch of money in that safe, and we know that Indike was going over to that bank to take money out all the time in the sum of $7,500, so he'd stay under Title 31. And then that money was used as petty cash to pay people off. So definitely falls in line with all the stuff we know already. As the Daily Beast reported, Doe was among multiple accusers to file lawsuits against Epstein's estate after his death inside a federal lockup in August 2019, just 1 month after his indictment for trafficking minors. Doe also was interviewed as part of the 2019 criminal case brought by the Manhattan federal prosecutors, the amended complaint states. So that shows you right there, this is serious business, right? We're not talking about some crackpot who just showed up out of nowhere. We're talking about a woman who was a girl when she was started abused by this man, who has real grievances, who is not going to be shut up, who is not going to be swept under the rug. And she has found the perfect ally in Brad Edwards to pursue this. I'm not a big fan of lawyers in general, but Brad Edwards has shown his mettle time and time again. And anyone stepping up to the plate, manning up against Epstein and his posse of lawyers, they got my respect for sure. Doe was a 22-year-old ballet dancer when a recruiter brought her to Epstein in 2006. She says that for years, she was forced into sex with Epstein and his associates at his mansions in Florida, New York, New Mexico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. I mean, I hate to go off on a tangent again, but what's going on at Zorro Ranch? Another girl, Priscilla Doe, saying she was abused there. How many girls have to say they were abused there? Virginia, Annie, Priscilla Doe. How many others? How many local girls? What about the massage therapists from the area that were in the Black Book? All of these other places get raided, but not Zorro Ranch. No access there. Nothing to see here, folks. Don't worry about Zorro Ranch. The question really is, I know it's rhetorical, why? The amended complaint also includes new detail on Doe's background, saying she worked menial jobs to pay for training at Step on Broadway and the Joffrey Ballet, and was about to begin rehearsal for the Nutcracker with the Iglevsky Ballet School when she was recruited to meet Jeffrey Epstein by another young female who had also fallen prey to Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking scheme. This recruiter offered Doe, who came from a poor family and had been living with her mother, the chance at a job giving massages to a wealthy businessman. So again, you see the same story unfold, right? Another girl, broken home, living with her mother, poor background. The recruiter knows that, preys upon that, brings her into Jeffrey Epstein's clutches, and he uses that, molds her because of that, and manipulates the whole situation because he has power and money. And all of the people that helped her get from point A to point B, all of those people should be held accountable for it. As previously reported, Doe traveled to Epstein's Virgin Islands compound with an entourage that included alleged accomplices, alleged child abuser, not alleged actually, this one, general all-around scuzzbag, and bipedal serpent, Ghislaine Maxwell, and French modeling agent Jean-Luc Brunel. She claims that once they arrived, Maxwell taught her the proper way to perform fellatio and kept Doe and other survivors on call to service Epstein. So you got Ghislaine Maxwell, according to this report, showing girls how to perform oral sex, underage girls how to perform oral sex to please this disgusting, gross-ass weirdo Jeffrey Epstein. Where are the RICO charges again? Epstein controlled every aspect of her life, Doe says, and took her virginity against her will and wishes. The financier, pedophile, allegedly forced Doe to wear underwear in certain colors, remove body piercings, undergo surgery to remove moles, and have her hair cut and colored the way he wanted through one of his stylists. I wonder if that stylist had to do with Frederick Fekkai, one of the people that works there, him himself. An interesting angle. Wonder if we'll be able to figure that out. Doe also believed Epstein was monitoring her every move while she lived at the Upper East Side apartment he provided for her. When she took a trip to Montreal, Epstein immediately summoned her back to his Manhattan mansion and warned her she wasn't allowed to leave New York without his permission. So, sounds like a hell of a guy, right? Sounds like the kind of guy that you want to hang out with. Said nobody ever. And you mean to tell me he kept this all under wraps when he was hanging out with all of his buddies that knew nothing? He wasn't flexing and flaunting his power over these girls to impress them? Oh, of course he was. Stop it. That's in his DNA. He was a flaunter, a flexer, a loudmouth. And all of his nonsense, all of his BS is very, very clear. This man was involved in not only sex trafficking, he was involved in money laundering, he was involved in tax evasion, and, according to this girl here, kidnapping as well. We know that Jeffrey Epstein and his criminal organization should be charged with plenty more crimes than they're looking at right now. That's one certainty that I'm very confident in talking about. Because just take a look at all of the allegations throughout all of the years. You mean to tell me that all we have so far are the indictments against Maxwell? Really? Epstein intermittently surprised Doe by showing up unexpectedly, causing her to believe he was stalking her, the amended complaint alleges. At one point, Epstein allegedly forced Doe to serve hors d'oeuvres at a private party with Epstein's actor buddy, Woody Allen. Oh, I wonder, would this be the same party that Chelsea Handler was at, Stephanopoulos was at, Katie Couric? The list goes on and on. Same party that you have a sex trafficking victim walking around giving you a piece of ham on a stick or whatever sort of hors d'oeuvres they're serving? But nobody knew anything. This server's role was forced upon Doe in order to demean her, frighten her, and impress upon her the need for her to conceal the commercial sex trafficking enterprise he was running, the original lawsuit alleges. The amended lawsuit adds another disturbing detail. Epstein further demeaned her by directing her to sit on a movie theater floor and massage his feet during a movie. So all of these weird massages, all of these weird hangouts at Jeffrey Epstein's house that are just mundane. We were just hanging out. We were just having a massage with our underpants on. Well, it's obvious it was a lot more than that. It's obvious that the guys that were hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein and hanging out over at his house, well, they weren't over there to watch the game, okay? And Jeffrey Epstein and his association, all of the people that helped him keep this thing moving, every last one of them that has been named in these documents, Indike, Khan, the core four, they all must be put under oath, and they need to be questioned by a seasoned interrogator. Because how much more evidence does there need to be? All of these people, according to the people that it happened to, were working hand in hand to make their abuse possible. Isn't it time that we see some RICO charges? Isn't it time that we see the SDNY kick in a few more doors? What are they waiting for? If you'd like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI at protonmail.com. You can also find me on Twitter at BOBBY_CAPUCCI. All of the links that go with this episode can be found in the description box. All right, folks, so today I have a couple of episodes coming your way from my new podcast to give you a little taste of what I have going on over there. So they'll be marked. That's what they are, obviously. So if it's not something you're into, just skip right on over it. And then tomorrow, well, I'll have the next episode and the final episode of the Vanity Fair article. So that's pretty much the schedule for today and tomorrow. And we'll keep it rolling, folks. We'll see what's what. And we'll continue to try and swim upriver in these murky waters. If you're going out tonight, please be safe. Don't be a moron. Don't drink and drive. Don't smoke and drive. Whatever it is, get an Uber. Have a good time. The world is open. And folks, you all earned a good time. All right, everybody. I'll talk to you all tomorrow.
Are you ready? Because travel is back. And in Arizona, epic reunions can happen. So start planning a girls' trip, a guys' weekend, or a family vacation to a place where selfies are fun again, date nights are extra special, and together is even better. Now's the time to get way out of the house. Rediscover Arizona. Start planning your getaway at rediscoveraz.com.
Still paying hundreds of dollars for prescription glasses? Let's change that. At Zenni.com, our factory direct model means no middlemen or outrageous markups. Just the same quality frames and lens options as the other guys for 1/10 the price. Zenni offers prescription glasses starting at $6.95, as well as affordable sunglasses, blue blockers, and more. The best part? Try any frame, anywhere, with our 3D virtual try-on. Visit Zenni.com today and change the way you buy glasses forever.